Hello there and welcome back to a new video. So if you take the 5 largest economies in the world right now, 3 of them are from Asia. The influence of international alliances like NATO, European Union and Commonwealth are all declining and giving way to organizations or alliances like BRICS, Quad, G20 and so on. The power centers of the world are definitely diversifying, if not shifting. And it is in this context that a lot of Indian youth is migrating in record numbers to the West. That was what my last video was about. I basically looked into the reasons why Indian youth is migrating and why that may not be a good idea at all. So if you want to know more about that, please do check it out. And this video can be seen as a continuation of the last video because I missed a few points. So here we will look at how migration has affected all of these countries. India needs to create 90 million jobs by 2030 to sustain the level of economic growth that it is on, or to become a $1 trillion economy. But then with the growing opportunities to travel and connect with more people and with an increased inflow of cash into the economy, people are choosing to leave the country. The major reason is that they are impatient and they really want higher standards of living, which we can't really blame them for that. And on the other end of this coin are countries in Europe and the West where they have a dwindling labor force, an aging population, and they really need skilled workers and technical workers. So what could have been a symbiotic relationship between these countries is nothing but that. Rather, it has turned into chaos and disruption of the economic and social order, especially of these countries where the immigrants are ending up. In the last video, we looked at how and why the Indians don't get their dreams fulfilled even after an education from such prestigious universities. The highly educated, skilled youth migrants in the West find themselves in really unskilled job sectors, not the higher end jobs. And on top of that, countries like UK, US and Canada are all tightening their immigration policy and their work visa rules. So stricter visa rules, lower working hours, cap on admissions in colleges, lesser work permits, so on and so forth. It has become really difficult to sustain a livelihood once you have migrated, and also it has become really difficult to migrate. Especially to UK, US, Canada, Australia and so on. Donald Trump is also expected to put in much more harsher restrictions on immigration, especially on work visas and student visas, or for citizenship also. Why is the West doing this is an important question. They want to secure their own. There is already an economic slowdown going on in the West, especially, and that has been there for some time now, and they don't want to put their population in jeopardy by adding so much pressure on the healthcare, education, job sectors and real estate by inviting more and more people from other countries. The governments of these European countries did invite all these young immigrants, partly out of the desperation of an economic slowdown, and also probably to get cheap, expendable labor, disguised also as their virtue signaling or open-mindedness to educate all these people. But they are not offering anything else. The question also should be who actually did benefit from bringing in all these immigrant youth into these countries. Anyway, it is safe to say that this plan hadn't worked out in the favor of anyone, especially the governments and the students who went there. And there is a deeper, much important issue in all of this, and that is illegal immigration into the West. The truth is, most Asian, African and Arab countries know the blend of refugee crisis and illegal migration. Countries in these continents have seen high levels of political instability, communal disharmony and violence and chaos and conflicts and wars of so many kinds, that we have seen an inflow of such high amounts of refugees or illegal migrants. And we are also familiar with the economic pressures, the political and social instability that all comes along with the refugee crisis or illegal immigration, because we don't really know who is coming in what numbers, or where they are settling down. And not to forget the threats to security and integrity of the land that these people are immigrating to. If you look at it in that way, the West hasn't bothered themselves with refugee crisis or large-scale immigration until the beginning of the Arab Spring and atrocity that ISIS was, and the political instability that happened after the Arab Spring. Millions of people from Syria and Iraq and Pakistan and Afghanistan and Nigeria all flooded into the borders of the European Union. There was such a huge amount of pressure on the European countries to open their borders, and it was Angela Merkel of Germany who did that, who suspended the enforcement of the Dublin regulation to let in the refugees. And soon countries like Sweden, Hungary, Austria and Italy followed suit. There was a lot of pressure on the economy of these countries, which were already in a slow decline. They were not looking up, and the illegal immigrants put such a huge amount of pressure in the health, education and the job markets in these countries. Political backlash of the illegal immigration is also very steep. The extreme polarization between the left and the right in the West or in Europe is also attributed to the illegal immigration. Illegal immigration was an important talking point in Brexit and the reason why Britain left the European Union, because they were really pessimistic about how the other countries in the European Union handled the illegal immigration. The rise of far right in countries like Germany, UK, France are also attributed to the refugee crisis and how the governments handled it. People are generally very disturbed about how the people from outside the country are coming in large numbers and disrupting the order there. And there has always been high incidences of violence in these places or close to these places. So that has also been a huge problem. Another very important point is that after 2015, the problem of illegal immigration has not declined. It's only becoming worse in many places. So in 2021, there was a large number of Haitian refugees coming into US through the US-Mexico border. Indian illegal immigrants constitute a large percent of people coming into the West illegally, and that has mainly started from the post-COVID era. And since India really doesn't have any crisis to speak of, they won't get any asylums. They will have to remain illegal immigrants trafficked into the country, unless of course they are deported. The left in the Western countries have been very stringent about allowing the illegal migrants to stay in their countries and to share the resources with them, and to inculcate values of multiculturalism and open borders and so on. But that has definitely backfired, which can be seen in the surge of right-wing, far-right politics. Now even the left governments are changing their plans in dealing with the illegal immigrants, because they have to. The West really represents a utopia of peace and harmony and abundance and a lot of resources and amenities to live, and that is attracting a lot of people into those countries. But then if so many migrants are moving into these spaces where they are not able to contribute as much, but if they are draining the resources of these places, and then the utopia itself may collapse. Multiculturalism sounds like a good thing in paper, but how much of that is practical really? And I feel that every country has the right to maintain its sovereignty and to regulate who comes in and out of their country. Countries like India has grappled with illegal immigration a lot, and we are still grappling with it. People may start to come into the country as refugees, but then they change everything about that land, and then there is such political, social and cultural unrest because of this collision of cultures. Let's put it that way. So the West should maintain their sovereignty and their development, and they should be able to put their citizens first before anything else. And for the countries where there is a crisis, they need to be helped and supported to find a solution from within. Large scale immigration or exodus cannot be a long-term solution anyway. Let me know what you think about all of this. Please do check out my other videos if you liked this one, and don't forget to subscribe. Until we meet next time, bye bye. Well, it goes without saying that I don't have a sponsor yet, but not to worry, I will sponsor my own video, more precisely my book will. This is the first book that I wrote. It's a realistic fiction novel about 4 teens in a city enmeshed in a life of drugs, love, violence and chaos. A tale of isolation and desperation one feels among known strangers in an unknown city. Well, this book is available on Amazon and Flipkart. The links will be in the description. I will also share the link to the video trailer of the book.